Good evening. Hi, everyone. I'm back. Okay. On my last video, I was talking to you regarding how I dealt with the medicines. That was the first thing that I addressed when my mom came and moved in with me. As months went by, we were like very good roommates, is what we became. My mom continued to do the activities that she was doing prior to her moving in. So she would drive herself to church, drive to AR meetings, any type of social events from the different committees that she was on. She was continuing to do that while residing here with me now, right? And as she did that, I continued to go to work. And then one day when I got home from work, my mom sat me down and she had a discussion with me. And what she said to me was, if I get to the point in which I am unable to do for myself, I want you to do what you have to do for me. Because the last thing I want is for your life to stop and be put on hold to take care of me. That was something that touched my heart and pulled at my heartstrings because I was trying to fully understand why she was having this conversation with me. Fine, she had her moments in which she would forget a few things or she would tell a story at 1 minute and then turn right back around and tell the same story all over again. That was something I got used to her doing, and I thought it was a little norm since I tend to do it myself a few times every now and then. I think we all tend to do that. You forget some of the little things and you don't think a whole lot about it. Then you tell a story and then you find yourself telling that story all over again. So I figured, okay, that's just her growing older or getting older. And this is part of life. Made no big deal out of it. Then one day I came home, and what I did was I had purchased the indoor cameras. I purchased the one through Genie, and it's on Amazon. That was the one that I purchased. I had it in the house so that I can keep an eye on her just to see what she was doing during the day, right? Because as stated, Mom was still living independently, but living here with me. So I started developing some routines with her. Like I would get up in the morning and her medicines that I had in the container that I mentioned before. I would get up in the morning and I would take those medicines, and I took 2 of her old medicine containers and marked them for AM and for PM. So I would put her medicines in here. When I would leave to go to work in the morning, I would leave the ones for AM on my peninsula. I leave them there for her to have them with her breakfast. Because she would get up, she loves cereal and oatmeal. So I would get up in the morning and I would always make sure there was cereal here. And what I started doing was I got bowls with lids on it. So I would take the dry cereal and put it in the bowl with the lid, put that on my peninsula. And then when she got up, she would get her milk out of the refrigerator after she bathed and got herself dressed. And she'd go ahead and have her cereal, and she would see her medicine there for her to take. That's what I would start doing. Then I got home from work one day, and when I walked in, I looked at my mom, and my mom had on a pair of leggings. She had on socks. She had on jeans. She had a dress on top of that. Then she put on a turtleneck with a sweater and a jacket. And and I can't forget her hat. She put her hat on her head because my mom loves her hats. So she put a hat on her head. So I walked through the door and I just looked at her. I said, oh, this is the outfit we chose to wear today, huh? She said, yes. And I feel I look good. I was like, okay, Mom, that's your outfit for the day. All righty, that works for me. So then I really started looking at other things that she started doing. Then when it came to her medicine, I would go in her room and I would find little pills. When she tells me she took her medicine, but in actuality, she didn't take the medicine. So the pills were underneath her mattress. Some pills were underneath her bed. So I had to come up with another way or something else that I would have to do because I knew something had to be done. So what I did was I called her doctor. And then the message I received from them was to contact the neurologist and call the neurologist so they could run some more tests on her. I contacted the neurologist. They ran some more tests on my mom. And then once the results came back, I met with them again, or her and I did, and the doctor finally defined it that she had dementia. They knew when my mom had brain surgery, maybe 8 years ago. They told us then after the surgery that she may have some memory issues later on down the road. And that could be from the brain surgery and the fact that she had the surgery after the age of 65. And that would be one of the effects from the anesthesia that was used. So we were aware of that, but we didn't know if it was going to happen. It may happen, it may not happen. But we had to take in consideration the fact that my mom's mother and several of her siblings had dementia and Alzheimer's. My mom's father, his siblings also had Alzheimer's and dementia. When I discussed this with the doctor was letting me know that myself along with my siblings should prepare ourselves because that may be something that's going to come to us also, since it's prevalent on both sides of my mother's family. So that's something we had to take consideration. And for right now, what we need to make sure we did was do a lot of things to challenge ourselves, challenge our memories, play games, do puzzles, do stuff to keep your brain actively engaged, more or less. So that's what all of us have been doing. So with that diagnosis, my mom was still driving because the doctor said as long as she was able to drive, she can drive. I sat her down and talked to her and let her know that if it got to the point in which I felt that she was going to be harmful to herself or others driving, and I saw that she was forgetting and something just wasn't right in regards to the driving, that I would be taking her keys from her. My mom was fine with that. She said, okay, and if I feel that it's a point in which I need to just give them to you, I'll do that. It's like, okay, Mom, that works for me. Then the day came in which we were outside, and I said, okay, Mom, we're going to drive your vehicle. Let's alternate, so we'll drive your vehicle today. I'll pull my vehicle out, and then you pull yours out, and I'll pull mine back into the driveway. I said, okay, Gwen, okay, no problem. I went on, I pulled my car out. My mom was in her vehicle. Said, okay. I'm waiting for her to back her car up. My mom gets out the vehicle, and she walks around and goes to the passenger side and gets in the car. I said, oh, okay, she wants me to back it out. I get in the car, and the car doesn't want to move. When I happen to look down and look at the dashboard, that's when I noticed that the car had been in neutral. So my mom had gotten out the car with the car in neutral. At that point, that's when I told my mom, okay, you're at the point now, Mom, and I think it's time to just turn the keys over to me and let me drive you to your appointments and the different things that you have to do. And that is how we worked it out. And that was the schedule we worked out, and that's what I did. When she had a doctor's appointment, I was at all her appointments. And that is something I should stress to you all. If you're dealing with the old senior or a loved one, and we're just starting to have these memory issues that you're starting to notice, whenever they have a doctor's appointment, please make it your business to go to the appointment with them. Do that. Learn what's going on with them, because a lot of times they will not be able to tell you what's going on. There were several times, too, that I wound up having to let my mom go to the hospital. And at the hospital, I noticed things they were doing. Someone should be there with them also, and I stress that so much, to be an advocate for them. My mom was at the hospital. My mom was never diagnosed with any type of sugar issues whatsoever. So while we're at the hospital, the nurse comes in and she's coming in to take my mom's sugar. And she takes the sugar and then she's coming back with medicine to give my mom for her sugar. So I addressed her and asked, okay, what are you doing? She said, oh, your mom's sugar is low, so I'm going to have to give her some medicine to raise her sugar. I said, okay, my mom does not have sugar issues. Feel her fingers. Are her fingers cold? She said, yes. I said, okay, you cannot test my mother's sugar by pricking her finger. You have to take it through the IV in her arm. Do it that way. If you do it that way, you'll see that her numbers are not low. Her sugar is fine. The nurse didn't want to listen to what I was saying. I had her get the doctor, call the doctor in. I told my mom's hands are really cold, and I'm told that that can alter the reading when you check for diabetes. The doctor went on, after me arguing back and forth with him, agreed, okay, let's do a test. We'll prick her finger, and then we'll take it through the IV. They pricked her finger, and they took it through the IV. When the test results came back, the doctor came in to see me and said, you know what? You were correct. Her readings on her finger prick was very low. The reading on from her IV, it was right where it should be at and a little bit higher than that. So you're correct. You cannot check her blood sugar level through her finger. So when you're there at the hospital with your parent, if they do not have a history for sugar, just press with the doctors to check through the IV in their finger to see, especially if their fingers are always cold. All right? It's just a point I want to stress and to bring up regarding that part. So yes, my mom was diagnosed with dementia. In the next videos, I'm going to be showing you other things I had to do, things I had to change to deal with that diagnosis and her progression with it. One day she was fine, and the next day so many different things were happening with my mom. Okay? So take that advice I gave you. Remember, be that advocate for your loved one. Be that voice for them. Because a lot of times people will try to put them through things and say things through them that they're not fully understanding. So take the time, be patient, and be their voice. Thank you.